Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am so excited because we're going to be doing an in-depth review, demo, tutorial, swatches of the new Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes Eyeshadow Palette. Oh my gosh. Do you want to see the inside? Yeah. So, I have to tell you, I was so freaking excited when I saw this palette because I have been trying to find just a good, truly neutral wearable palette like this forever at this point, honestly. I feel like the closest thing is actually another Too Faced eyeshadow palette, and it's the Natural Eyes palette. That's obviously much smaller, has far fewer shades, but kind of that vibe, you know what I mean? Where the whole thing is wearable, there aren't these random pops of color thrown in there, it's not too overly orangey, it's not too purpley and cool toned, like just freaking natural, neutral, wearable shades, whatever you want to call it. I've been on the hunt, so I almost fell out of my chair when I saw that this was launched because this is beautiful. Like, this is what I want. And I know that there's a lot of people that are going to be like, oh my god, not another like natural, neutral, wearable palette. We have so many of them, but like, also where, you know? I can't seem to find them anymore, honestly. And I know there are a ton of people who do love bright eyeshadow colors and they love those palettes that have the pops of color. For me personally, it's just not something I ever play around with. I don't ever wear color on my eyes, honestly. Like, the most color I would ever wear is like a more orangey, warm-toned eyeshadow look, but something that's not straight up orange on the lids. I play it a little bit safer with makeup. I love a full glam moment, but I just don't want a green full glam moment or a purple full glam moment, you know? Like, I want it to still be wearable. And I know there's gotta be a lot of you watching that feel the same way as me because, like my friends, I always go back and think about my friends who don't wear a ton of makeup. They don't usually even wear eyeshadow that often. So if they were to wear eyeshadow, it would be something like this and not something blue and pink, you know? Anyway, okay. So if you guys wanna see my thoughts on this eyeshadow palette, if you wanna see how it performs, I will do live swatches of all of the colors for you guys. Obviously, we have a tutorial on this eye look right here, and I will just give you my overall thoughts and an overall recommendation if you should buy it or not. Stay tuned, we will jump right into all of that. Before we do, if you could please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, that would mean so much to me and really help me out. Also, make sure you click on that notification bell because I post 2 to 3 new videos every single week for you guys. It's more like 3 to 4, if we're being honest. And then if you're looking for more content from me after this video, click on the description box below because I have links to my blog, podcast, and Instagram, and I have loads of content for you guys over there as well. All right, let's play. Okay, so the first shade I'm gonna go in with is for just like a transitional shade on my crease area. So we are going to use Seashell right here. This is the perfect neutral brown. Like, oh, it's perfect. I'm so excited about that. So I'm gonna go in with a large fluffy crease brush, pick up some of that shade, and get going in the crease. Okay, so that was perfection. Like, that blended beautifully. There's the perfect amount of pigment. Like, it obviously has a really good amount of pigment, but it's not too much to the point where it's hard to blend. Like, oh, that is just so nice, you guys. Also, I forgot to say, I do already have my lids primed. I used my MAC Soft Ochre Pro Longwear Paint Pot. Okay, next I'm gonna pick up the shade called Nude right here. And then when you compare that to this first shade that we used, you can see this one is much pinkier. This one is more of like a true cool neutral brown, like cool to neutral, you know? So we're gonna pick up a little bit of that on this brush right here and focus this on like the outer half of my crease and outer corner. All right, I'm gonna pick back up that first brush and just do some blending here. I don't have any additional product on it, so I'm just very softly blending. That blended perfectly too, just the right amount of pigment. It worked really well with that previous shade. I'm excited. All right, next I'm gonna go in with the shade Cocoa right here. So this is more, again, of a cool toned, kind of purpley undertoned brown. So it's definitely deeper than this and has like a different undertone going on, but I think it'll complement those really nicely. So I am going to take that on a smaller crease brush and just, again, focus this even more so on that outer part of my crease, mostly in the outer V of my eye, not so much in the crease. Okay, and then I just want to add a little bit more depth specifically to the outer corner of my eye. So I am going to go in with Truffle right here on a much more pointed, precise brush and just really like put this color in that area, not blend it up too much. And then I will use my other brushes in those previous shades to do the blending. All right, so I'm just gonna work my way backwards. We're gonna go back in with Cocoa on this smaller brush, do some blending there, and then maybe I will go back in with a little bit more of Nude right here with the brush that I used for that, but I don't wanna go all the way back to here because I feel like we already did that part of the blending process. This is really just to help blend this color. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more of that Nude shade just to lighten this up a bit. All right, don't worry, we're gonna clean up the outer corner and all of that. I know it's a bit messy right now, but this is kind of just how I work, and then I reshape everything at the end. So for the lid shade, what should we use? I'm torn between this one and this one. I feel like this is gonna complement the look that we have going on the best. So this is the shade Sparkling Sand. It's just like a nice champagne type of bronzy color, but not too dark and bronzy. This one's a little bit more of like a warmer gold, which would still be pretty, but I feel like would complement like that really well. So let's do this. I'm gonna take that on a flat shader brush like this with some of my MAC Fix Plus. I always do that with shimmery shades, and let's see how this performs. God, that's good. Okay, I do want to just try one more shimmery shade on my lid. So I'm going to pick up some rose gold right here, and I'm actually just going to pick that up on my finger and then add some to like the outer half of my lid space. We'll see if this even shows up. Oh yeah, pretty. All right, I'm gonna pick up this fluffy crease brush right here. This is what I used for the first shade. I don't have any extra product on it. I am just going to use this to blend where I put down that shimmer, like right in between my lid and crease. All right, and then I feel like I need to try out this glistening snow shade right here. This is just so shimmery. Ooh. It like doesn't even pick up on camera. So I'm going to use this small pointed brush and add some of that to the inner corner of my eye. That one's not showing up the best on its own. I will now try to use that with MAC Fixed Plus. That just does not want to show up right there. The chunks of glitter in that one are pretty thick, so it's kind of just like falling off the brush. Okay, so that honestly just like removed my shadow right here. So we're just gonna cover that back up. All right, now to clean this up, we're gonna go in with the shade Swan right here. So this is just kind of like a bone color. I really like that it's not stark white. I feel like sometimes that's just too harsh. So it's more of like a pearl beigey white, you know? So I am gonna go in with a larger brush, this one right here, to clean this up because I got a bit of cleanup to do. Do we see the difference? It's literally like a magic eraser. Amazing. One last time for good measure, we are gonna pick up that first shade called Seashell right here, that initial fluffy crease brush, and use this to blend between the color that we just laid down, that bone shade, and the rest of the crease area. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face makeup off camera. I also will do liner and mascara. Then we'll come back, check in. I'll show you guys the completed look and we'll do swatches and all of that stuff, and I'll give you my final thoughts. So I will link everything that I use in the description box below. If you wanna see how I apply makeup to my face, I will also link some other videos where I do that on camera below, but since this is just a review on this eyeshadow palette, I thought we would just leave that out because I have plenty of other videos where I do show you guys how to do that. So, all right, we're back. Let me give you guys a quick close-up. We'll see how this eye makeup turned out. So I personally love how this turned out. I know there's not a ton to say about it because it's nothing we haven't seen before, but it's something I haven't been able to find in an eyeshadow palette in so long. Like, I've just been having to buy individual eyeshadow singles in order to achieve looks like this because palettes just right now are so bright and bold, or they're so warm toned and orangey or really cool toned. Like, I've just been having a really hard time finding something like this. So I am really happy with it. I think this is so pretty. Obviously very wearable, something you could wear to work in my opinion. I mean, depending on where you work, but also something you could wear out at night on like a night out with friends or on a date night or whatever it is, because the shimmer on the lid makes it still glam, but because the colors are more neutral, it's in a wearable way. So I just think it's so pretty. I love looks like this. They're my absolute favorite. And then as far as performance on the lid, pretty much all of the shadows that I used performed really well. The one that did not was, let's pull it up, this glistening snow shade right here. So we'll see how this swatches on my hand, but I can see right there in the palette, that one is very chunky. So I definitely would have to use some sort of brush like this that's flatter with a fixed plus on it, and that probably would apply a lot better, but even still, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look so good in the palette. You'll see there's a clear difference between that and some of the deeper shimmers. All of the mattes blended beautifully, which honestly is what I'm most excited about because I have lots of shimmer shades and other palettes that I love. Mattes like this, like in these color ranges, you would think you'd be able to find everywhere, but I just, again, I've been having a hard time finding truly neutral wearable mattes. So very excited about that. All right, let's stop talking and let's start swatching. I am gonna swatch on the back of my hand. I said this in my Jaclyn Hill Morphe Volume 2 palette review that I like to swatch on the back of my hand because we have some natural oils here that helps the shadow to stick to it better, helps the pigment show up a little bit better, and I feel is more comparable to a lid with eyeshadow primer on it than just a blank hand with nothing on it, you know? So take that with what you will. Okay, these are gonna be a little bit harder to see on camera, obviously, because they are light, but here we have the shade Swan, Seashell, Nude, and Petal. I'm not kidding. When I put my finger in that pan, they are so creamy. Like, they literally feel delicious, but not in an overly creamy way to the point where you have too much fallout or they start to crumble and fall apart. Like, they're not too fragile. They're just a beautiful, creamy matte, and those all swatched so nicely. The perfect amount of pigment. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. Okay, the second and final set of mattes we have Warm Rose, Maple, Cocoa, and Truffle. Again, these all blended beautifully. I absolutely love these first two shades. Like, they're perfect because this one's a little bit pinkier, more cool toned. This one right here, Maple, is a little bit more warm toned, but they're not too deep. Like, they're a good medium transitional shade. So pretty. All I can say about those mattes is that I wish there was more and this palette was like 5 times as big because those are perfection. All right, for shimmers we have Glistening Snow, Shimmering Pearl, Sparkling Sand, and Rose Gold. Ugh. So I will show you what this palette looks like after. Glistening Snow, that first shade that I tried to put on my inner corner, definitely still looks chunky in the pan, but it's swatched out beautifully and I actually really love that shade. It's just like a champagne icy gold. Really pretty. So that's probably something I would recommend, again, using with a flat shader brush and Fix Plus, or just with your finger. Maybe even a little bit of glitter glue would like really help that adhere to the lid. All of those are so pretty. Alrighty, last set of shades to go through. We have Sparkling Rum, Golden Light, Sugared Chestnut, and Sparkling Sable. These are all stunning as well. I don't really know what else to say other than I personally don't really use shades that are like this dark when they're shimmery. When I put a shimmery shade on my lid, I need it to be lighter than that. Otherwise, it just looks really intense on me. But obviously, I know there are people with much darker skin tones than me that would love shades like that and they would look beautiful on them. So let me show you what I was talking about as far as like what those shimmers look like. So can we see that one is very chunky right there? We have that like going on a little bit in here, but not nearly as much. So it's definitely more specific to that shade. It's just like pressed differently. So overall, final thoughts on this palette. Would I recommend it? Do I think you should buy it? Obviously, that's going to depend if you're somebody that is looking for another neutral wearable palette in your collection. If you are, I will say 100% yes. All of the shadows I used performed nicely. All of the undertones are perfect. There's nothing too harsh. There's nothing too overly cool or too overly warm. Like, it is just right. The mattes are beautiful. They're creamy. They're blendable. I freaking love all of those mattes. The shimmers are really pretty. Are they the best shimmers I've ever used? No, but they're still really, really good. And I do feel that they complement all of the matte shades in this palette really, really nicely. Like, this is just beautiful. I freaking, yes, yes. All right, you guys, so that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial and review on the Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes palette. I'm so excited about this. I'm definitely going to purchase another to add to my freelance collection for my brides because, like I said, I cannot find matte shades like this anywhere, and these are the most perfect bridal matte shades ever. Like these two right here. You guys will definitely have to let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this palette. Do you already have it? How do you like it? Are you planning on purchasing it? Or do you already have too many nude palettes? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. If there's anything else you would like to see from me on this channel next, that can be makeup related, skincare, hair care, health, fitness, whatever you want to see, let me know. I'd love to do that for you. Otherwise, my next video will be up in a few days. So until then, I hope you have a great few days.